Reassure me, we aren't going to have to force that one, are we?
I don't think we're even capable of doing it. You're going to have to find a way to open it.
Why, of course. And what's inside?
Something to vanquish them with?
Perfect. So, how does it open?
We'll need several keys. I found a note from the architect who conceived the mechanism in Mortimer's secret study. We have to first gather 5 objects before we try anything.
Are the 5 objects the keys?
Exactly. We have the Clement III cross, the nails, the Gutenberg Bible, the exegesis of Judas, an armillary sphere, and all we need to match up the dates between the different calendars.
Why a cross?
Well, I haven't the foggiest idea, but it just so happens that's what you are going to use to activate the mechanism. I found the one Mortimer kept. It belonged to Cardinal Guibert, better known by the name of Pope Clement III.
Perfect. Where is it?
Unfortunately, I've lost it. When I lost my hand, I went dashing out, and it must have fallen from my pocket.
Remember, Mother. I'm certain you can remember.
Let me think.
You were running.
I was bleeding to death.
You remember the pain.
I thought I was going to faint. Yes, I remember. I don't think it can be far, can it?
Would you have lost it outside?
No, I don't think so. It must be in the area. I don't remember going up with it.
Perfect. I'll search the crypt before leaving. Some nails?
Don't ask me. I'm not the one who made the mechanism, you know. When I arrived, there were already a few of them inserted, so I didn't have to worry about those. On the other hand, I remember seeing some in Mortimer's secret study, behind his nightmare.
In a golden cup? Yes. Yes, I saw them too.
Perfect. It will be easy for you to find them then. You need 3 of them.
Very well.
You remember what to do about the rollers. 1191 to enter, and 6466 to exit.
Of course. An exegesis. Anything else?
Did you manage to vanquish the Medusa?
To open the chimney? Yes, absolutely.
So you've already come across it. It's the Bible of Judas that is exposed in the secret room behind the chimney.
Why do they call it an exegesis?
Because that's what it is, and not an apocryphal Bible, strictly speaking. It's the study of a text with a summary, not an actual Bible. Anyway, well done for the Gorgon. You did well. You didn't get tricked by the light bouncing back.
Thanks. Do you think I can take it safely?
We haven't got a choice, Louis. Without it, we won't be able to work out this cursed mechanism.
This is the book in which you left your correspondence with Duchess Hillsborough, isn't it?
That's right.
You still believe it's in the tower room, don't you?
I don't know. There is only one way to find out, though.
Right. I shall go and see. There's one in the portrait gallery.
Yes, but it's enormous. If you don't want to have to go back and forth several times, then I suggest you get a smaller one.
What did you do then?
I didn't think I'd need one. I started without one, and I lost my hand before I did need one. And you can see the result.
What do you mean by the concordance of dates exactly?
Don't worry about that. We already have them. They are written on the back of the message I just gave you. One last thing before you go. Be very careful. If you come across anyone, they can all potentially be spies of Mortimer or Holm. Don't ever confide in anyone because a demon can slip inside them at any moment.
Wait, not all of them though. Take Washington.
Especially Washington. He's been conditioned by Mortimer for years. Look at them, for crying out loud. How do you explain their behavior otherwise? The most influential politicians in the Western world gather together without the least protection, without a single aid to assist them, to participate in a conference during which the guests start dropping like flies. Me, Adams, Peru, Hillsborough. Look at the number of calamities that have happened over the past few days. And not one of them has asked to leave the island? Do you find that normal? You'll see. Go up to the manor to look for the keys, and I wager not one of them will speak to you about my being in Emily's room.
Do you think so?
Go on, you'll see. and come back with all the objects in one go. Time is against us.
And remember, the code to get out of the secret office is 6466.
Cache. Famous cross of Clement III.
Perfect. And one key found.
Right. It's definitely an armillary sphere, but I have to find one that I can... Right. Let's see if the statues are in place yet. That statue is not positioned correctly.
Open sesame.
The Ring of the Nibelungs. Even if Mortimer is several centuries old, I don't see what part he has in this legend. Given all the relics preserved here, it wouldn't surprise me if Mortimer... Caesar's laurel wreath. If Mortimer really is what my mother says he is, it could mean... No, that's impossible. No, not Caesar. So that's the exegesis of Judas. I hope Mortimer doesn't read it very often, otherwise he's going to notice that someone's stolen it. But that's just too bad. I need it. So that's Pandora's box? An urn? Mother seemed worried that I was able to open... Right. I've got what I need. Now let's not waste any more time. Fragment of amber. Chronicles of the Amber Princes. As I recall, Dorkin was my favorite. I have no space left. I'll retrieve it later.
Not too shocked
I beg your pardon?
about Peru this morning. I asked you if you weren't too shocked by it all.
Yes, of course. I still can't believe it.
And neither can I. How could he do that to us? There are increasingly fewer and fewer of us on Mortimer's side. I don't see at all how we are going to win the conference.
Tell me. I was wondering. I won't keep you any longer. See you later, monsieur.
damn it, Orishi. Are you joking or what? You sell me pipe dreams about Mortimer's project, and a few hours later, one of your allies completely breaks down. Is this what Mortimer's side is all about? What am I going to do now?
Oh, there's no need to get on your high horse. We have both had our share of little surprises. You didn't warn me that you were going to declare war, now did you?
Yes. No, but
No one could have predicted that Peru would react like that. Now what's done is done. It makes no difference to us.
What can I do for you?
I'm dreaming. My mother was right. He's not going to tell me one word about what happened to Emily.
To tell you the truth, I'm in search of an armillary sphere. You wouldn't know where I can find it, would you?
Well, well. So you do have a passion for astronomy. Von Wollner has already bored me quite enough with all of his endless stories. You ought to concentrate, Louis. Politics is an art that requires all one's attention. Refrain from spreading yourself too thin, and leave stargazing to the poets.
What can I say? I'm only...
Ask Wollner. I am sure he must have it among his effects.
Perfect.
Thank you, my Lord Duke.
Leave me now.
See you later.
Ah, Louis. Glad you're here.
Blasted. He's gonna talk about my mother.
Come and see what I've found. There are pieces of paper in the ashes of the chimney. Someone's been burning something here.
Incredible. He doesn't seem to want to speak to me about what happened between my mother and the Hillsborough sisters.
Show me a little.
Look, it's possible to distinguish two different writing styles.
The rest of the correspondence between my mother and Emma.
Someone tried to burn an exchange of messages. I'm certain. There must be more.
Shit. What on earth is he doing?
Ah, I see. I know what it's about.
Do you know who was doing their communicating in this room?
Yes, but of course we must keep it to ourselves because it is still a sensitive matter. Wollner and Elizabeth had an affair. Wollner hinted that he found a way to remain discreet about it. I admit it is ingenious.
Well, I would never have guessed.
Delighted to have helped, but I still have to find my mother.
Of course. We shall see each other later in that case.
Wasted enough time. The Bible.
Hey, look, there.
No, I don't see anything.
Come, Louis, look. Someone's clearly drawn a 4 in the dust. I have a clue.
I better take the Bible before he works his way back to it. The Bible's still there. An armillary sphere. Perfect. That will save me some time. I only hope that he isn't going to realize it right away. Right. This time, it'll be a lot quicker. If I remember rightly, the code was 1191. Of course. Great, honey. There. Those are the nails I was looking for. All right, come on, let's get out of here. 6466, if I remember correctly.
So, good. You've managed to gather all the keys.
Yes, that's right. I have everything. What should I start with?
Place the Clement III cross on the console. Then you have to put the nails on the disc of the door.
What hole should I put the nails in?
Well, I can't really advise you there, because I haven't exactly made the best choices myself. All I can say is that you have to insert 1 to choose a town, 1 to choose a chapter, and 1 to choose a verse.
What theme did you start with?
As the fresco shows the birth of Christ, I placed 1 nail in Bethlehem, 1 in chapter 2, and 1 in verse 6. The iris opened a little. I thought it was normal. Behind the aperture of the iris, there is a duct in which I put my hand. I felt something like a valve at the bottom. I thought by turning it the door would open, or the iris would open completely, or something else would happen. Instead, I felt something like an axe cut off my hand. I really thought it was the end of me.
What did you do then?
Well, although I had made some unfortunate choices, I was lucky in that Mortimer was well stocked with drugs. I raided his supplies of medicine.
All right, my turn now.
Go ahead, impress me. I'll shut up and let you concentrate.
Honey, I couldn't have hoped for better. The fresco clearly shows the birth of Christ.
Louis, I can assure you that that is not the solution to this enigma. This fresco's only purpose is to mislead. I know that now. Please, focus on another theme about Christ.
I'll have to trust her. You could see that the paint has come off in parts. Difficult to see what was there, but I can distinguish the letters N-R-I. Nothing more. Why, of course, I-N-R-I. Jesus Nazarenus Rex Eudorum. These initials stand for Jesus the Nazarene, King of the Jews. This is the inscription which appears on the cross at the crucifixion of Jesus. If Mortimer deliberately set a trap by showing the birth of Christ, then maybe the solution is the contrary. The death of Christ in that case? It looks like there are 3 types of inscriptions. There are 3 styles of writing, and I've got 3 nails. There must be a link. I must surely put in 1 nail per category. These towns have one thing in common. They're all related to the life and death of Jesus. For example, Jordan is the place of the baptism of Christ. Clearly, we have names of towns, Arabian numerals, and Roman numerals. This exegesis contains comments from Judas on the different Gospels. It only contains certain chapters and verses, and the chapters are indicated by Roman numerals. The lexicon refers to different chapters and verses from the exegesis of Judas. Chapter 1, verse 9. Jesus was baptized by John in Jordan on the 9th of Hesvan, 3852. Chapter 1, verse 9. And it came to pass in those days that Jesus came from Nazareth of Galilee, and was baptized by John in Jordan. And coming up out of the water, he saw the heavens opened, and the Spirit like a dove descending upon him. Chapter 19, verse 17. Jesus was crucified on the 8th of Nisan, 3793, in a place near Jerusalem. The Romans put a crown of thorns on his head. Chapter 19, verse 17. And he, bearing his cross, went forth into a place called the place of a skull, which is called in the Hebrew Golgotha, where they crucified him, and 2 others with him, on either side, and Jesus in the midst. Chapter 14, verse 22. On the 7th of Nisan, 3793, Jesus shared his Last Supper in the Cenacle in Jerusalem. Chapter 14, verse 22. And as they did eat, Jesus took bread and blessed and broke it, and gave to them and said, Take, eat. This is my body. And he took the cup, and when he'd given thanks, he gave it to them, and they all drank of it. Chapter 10, verse 30. I and the Father are one. Chapter 10, verse 30. I and my Father are one. Chapter 5, verse 2. Jesus cures the sick and lame on the 8th of Adar, 3791, in Jerusalem, at the pool of Bethesda. All stand and fling away their canes. Chapter 5, verse 2. Now, there is at Jerusalem, by the sheep market, a pool, which is called, in the Hebrew tongue, Bethesda, having 5 porches. In these lay a great multitude of impotent folk, of the blind, halting, and withered, waiting for the moving of the water. Jesus saith unto him, Rise, take up thy bed, and walk. And immediately the man was made whole, and took up his bed, and walked. And on the same day was the Sabbath. Chapter 2, verse 6. Jesus was born of Mary and Joseph on the 22nd of Teveth at midnight, 3762, in the village of Bethlehem. Chapter 2, verse 6. And so it was that, while they were there, the days were accomplished that she should be delivered of a child. And she brought forth her firstborn son, and wrapped him in swaddling clothes, and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. And there were in the same country shepherds abiding in the field, keeping watch over their flock by night. And lo, the angel of the Lord came upon them, and the glory of the Lord shone round about them, and they were sore afraid. Chapter 24, verse 3. Jesus rose from the dead on the 14th of Nisan, 3793, in Nazareth. He appeared with a halo above his head. Chapter 24, verse 3. But when they entered, they did not find the body of the Lord Jesus. While they were wondering about this, suddenly 2 men in clothes that gleamed like lightning stood beside them. In their fright, the women bowed down with their faces to the ground. But the men said to them, Why do you look for the living among the dead? He is not here, he has risen. Remember how he told you while he was still with you in Galilee. Chapter 3, verse 18. Words truly pronounced in Abagash. Chapter 3, verse 18. Words truly pronounced in Abagash. Chapter 3, verse 18. He that believeth in him is not condemned, but he that believeth not is condemned already, because he hath not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of God. Chapter 14, verse 22. On the 7th of Nisan, 3793, Jesus shared his Last Supper in the Cenacle in Jerusalem. Chapter 5, verse 2. Jesus cures the sick and lame on the 8th of Adar, 3791, in Jerusalem, at the pool of Bethesda. All stand and fling away their canes. Cross is stuck in the mechanism. I can't do anything. It works.
I hadn't seen those other wheels. But I don't know, I find this theme too close to the one that I used.
There must surely be a connection between the wheels. There are different icons on this wheel, but it looks like some of them can't be connected to the other wheels. Now, given the difference between the number of icons and the number of towns, I think that only one path connects all the wheels with one another. Let's try to connect the theme I've chosen with the rest. I think I can make out each one of the icons apart from the one covered in blood. Going clockwise from the one I just mentioned, we have the halo that represents the resurrection. The waves represent the baptism of Jesus. It's more difficult to identify the next one. Maybe a crib, and in that case it's surely linked to the birth of Christ. The red herring that my mother followed. Then, the symbol represents the crown of thorns that Jesus wore during his crucifixion. The dove also represents the baptism. Certainly another red herring. Then comes the symbol of the Trinity. And finally, the candle that must stand for the Last Supper. this wheel represents the different moons. In the occult sciences, we represent the full moon by an X. As for the dark moon, called the new moon, in cults, it's often associated with something harmful. This wheel contains several symbols made up of 1 or 2 figures and 1 letter. The highest figure does not exceed 31, and each letter corresponds to a month of the year. A for April, and M for March. I think these symbols must represent a specific date.
Look at this. There are notches between each of the wheels. So, I have to link the name of the town from the theme I've chosen to an icon, then to a date, and finally the date to the moon. During new moon, the moon is entirely in the shadow. Then, the shadow moves from west to east, meaning left to right, and goes through the following states: waxing crescent, first quarter, waxing gibbous, full moon, waning gibbous, last quarter, waning crescent, and the cycle starts over with the full shadowed new moon.
The moon's shadow moves from west to east. Seventh of Shaban, 607, first quarter. 13th of Shaban, 607, waxing gibbous. 20th of Du al-Hajjah, 561, waning gibbous. chapter 19, verse 17. Jesus was crucified on the 8th of Nisan, 3793, in a place near Jerusalem. The Romans put a crown of thorns on his head. Chapter 19, verse 17. And he, bearing his cross, went forth into a place called the place of a skull, which is called in the Hebrew Golgotha, where they crucified him, and 2 others with him, on either side, and Jesus in the midst. It works.
Well done, Louis. I hadn't seen those other wheels. Try connecting the theme to see if it goes all the way.
I can feel the lever at the bottom.
Good luck. I never doubted you, my son.